The docking bay groaned like an old creature stretching after a century-long nap, metal ribs shifting as if the asteroid station itself was tired of hosting the chaos of passing pilots. Jack's Marrow stood in the middle of it all, hands buried in a mess of cables that absolutely did not belong together but were somehow expected to act like a functioning ignition coil. Sparks hissed. Something popped. The small drone hovering beside him whirred anxiously and flashed a soft red warning light that basically meant please stop touching things. Relax, Jax muttered, even though he was talking more to himself than to the drone. If this explodes, it'll explode in a friendly direction. The drone beeped in disbelief. He sighed, wiping sweat from his brow with the sleeve of his grease-stained jumpsuit. Life on Helion Station was a constant cycle of broken ships, broken tools, and broken morale. The only thing not broken was the vending machine, which somehow still managed to charge triple for instant noodles. Jax didn't mind the work, he just minded being invisible. People walked past him every day as if he were a background prop in their lives, a mechanic-shaped blur that existed solely to fix whatever they didn't want to deal with. He was tightening a bolt that definitely did not want to be tightened when a shadow fell over him. A tall, imposing figure stepped into the bay's flickering light, and he nearly swallowed a wrench. She was unlike anyone he'd ever seen, human in silhouette, but undeniably something more. Her long ears curved elegantly back like the sweep of a starship wing, tapering to delicate points. Soft, scale-like patterns shimmered faintly along her forearms in deep hues that shifted with the station's neon glow. Her expression was carved from stubborn pride and a touch of exhaustion, like someone who had fought too many battles and hadn't slept since the invention of combustion engines. She cleared her throat. Jax did not turn immediately. Instead, he made the mistake of thinking, maybe if I pretend to be busy she'll go away, so he grabbed the nearest tool, a banana-shaped capacitor, and held it like he knew what it was for. "Are you the mechanic?" she asked. He tried to appear competent. "That depends. Are you here to complain about the noise, file a maintenance request, or challenge me to a duel? Just so I know which wrench to grab." A flicker of confusion crossed her face. She didn't laugh, but her sharp golden eyes softened a fraction. "I need repairs." She handed him a data chip with her ship's diagnostics. He took it, slid it into his console, and watched the error list scroll down so long it might have required its own gravitational field. "Oh," he said. This is impressive. In the sense that I'm impressed this thing is still flying. Did you anger a god or something?" "I angered many," she said simply. He blinked. "Right. Of course. Happens to the best of us." She studied him with a faintly puzzled tilt of her head, her long ears shifting with each breath. She was all intensity and sharp edges, the kind of person who looked like she could punch a star out of orbit. Jack swallowed, aware that she could probably break him in half with a sigh. "My name is Kalira," she said. "Of the Vorthian dragon clans." He nodded as if that meant something to him, even though his only knowledge of the clans came from late-night documentaries he watched to avoid feeling lonely. "Jax," he replied. "Of, the Marrow couch-sleeping lineage. We're legendary for our ability to procrastinate." A tiny spark of amusement flickered in her eyes. He tried to lean casually against the console, misjudged the distance, and nearly toppled over. Kalira's hand shot out, steadying him with surprising gentleness. Her touch was warm, almost too warm, like holding a metal bar left under artificial sunlight. "You are clumsy," she noted. "Thank you," he said automatically. That was not a compliment. "I'll take what I can get." She released him, her hand lingering a second longer than necessary. Jax tried not to think about it, but his brain enthusiastically ignored him and thought about it anyway. "So," he said, clearing his throat, "your ship needs more work than this station pays me for. I mean, unless you have credits. Lots of credits. Preferably in a suitcase that won't explode when opened." Kalira stiffened. "I have none." My exile stripped me of wealth. Her voice cracked slightly, barely noticeable, but enough. Jax hesitated. Something in her expression, a loneliness that mirrored his own, knocked the breath out of him. He didn't know her story, but he knew pain when he saw it. And, for some disastrously unknown reason, he wanted to ease hers. He made a joke before he could stop himself. Well, 20,000 credits and I'll marry you for a week. Silence. Her golden eyes widened. Her ears angled forward like sensors acquiring a target. He immediately regretted every life decision that had led him to this moment. Kidding, he added quickly. Joking. Humor. You know, the thing humans do to avoid emotional collapse. Her gaze didn't move. Didn't blink. Didn't breathe. Then she asked, what would this arrangement entail? Jax froze. The drone froze. The entire station probably froze. Oh stars, no, you're taking it seriously. I require credits, she said firmly. If the terms are honorable, I would consider it. Jax opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. His brain attempted to reboot. It's a joke, Kilira. Is it? She asked. You seem lonely. And I require assistance earning passage beyond this station. A temporary bonding may benefit us both. I wasn't serious. You are now, she said calmly, because I accept. He stared at her, slack-jawed, as if she'd just declared gravity optional. You accept? She nodded once. For 1 week, human mechanic Jax Marrow, I shall be your bride. The drone beeped wildly, spinning in panicked circles. Jax put his head in his hands. I was not built for this level of responsibility. Kilira's voice softened. Then we will learn together. Something in her tone, earnest, uncertain, hopeful, made the chaos inside him settle. For the first time in years, he felt seen. Okay, he whispered. 1 week. Her expression shifted into something fierce and surprisingly tender. Then let it begin. Jax exhaled, wondering how in all the galaxies a broken mechanic had just proposed to a dragon exile with long ears and a fire-lit heart. And why, despite his terror, it felt like the first good thing to happen to him in a very long time. Jax woke the next morning in the worst possible position for someone who had accidentally acquired a dragon bride, face down on his workbench, drooling onto a pile of tools. The drone hovered nearby, flashing a series of judgmental blue lights that seemed to spell out you did this to yourself. He sat up with a groan. His spine cracked like a faulty heat coil. Morning, he mumbled to the drone. Or afternoon. Or whatever dimension of time we're in. The drone beeped, projecting a small hologram above its head, an image of Kilira waiting outside Bay Door 3. Jax rubbed his eyes. She's early. Why is she early? Does she think married life starts at sunrise? He stumbled toward the bay doors, straightened his jumpsuit to seem less like a man who had been defeated by gravity, and pressed the panel. The doors slid open with a hiss. Kilira stood there, regal and calm, arms crossed, her long ears angled forward as if listening to the entire station. You are late, she said. I wasn't aware there was a schedule, he replied. You are my temporary mate, she said matter-of-factly. We must appear cohesive. Cohesive, Jax echoed. Right. Absolutely. I'll try to be less, me. She blinked slowly. Is that possible? He shot her a wounded look. She tried not to smirk. She failed. They stepped into the bustling corridors of Helion Station. Lights flickered, steam hissed from pipes, and vendors shouted about discount plasma conduits that were definitely illegal. Kilira walked with the steady calm of someone who had fought wars, while Jax walked with the steady wobble of someone trying not to bump into anything expensive. So, Jax began. Marriage. She nodded. We must practice. Practice? His voice cracked. Practice what? Bonding behavior, she said simply, as if discussing engine maintenance. My people will not believe a union if there is no demonstration of rapport. Rapport, he muttered. Okay. Sure. Let's, rapport. Kilira extended her arm. Hold. He hesitated. Hold what? My arm. Oh. He gently hooked his elbow around hers. Her skin was warm again, too warm, in a way that made him wonder if dragon biology came with built-in heating systems. Or if she was just nervous. They walked like that down the corridor. He felt oddly proud. Kilira looked, uncertain. Her golden eyes flitted to other passing humans, likely studying how they behaved with partners. Jax followed her gaze. Maybe don't copy everything. There's a couple over there arguing about whose turn it is to clean their food synthesizer. That's advanced human bonding. We're not ready. Kilira didn't laugh, but her ears twitched as if she wanted to. They reached Dockmaster Ren's office, a cramped room filled with more screens than actual space. Ren was a squat man with a beard that looked like it had been grafted from a disgruntled Wookiee. He glanced up and squinted. Jax. Didn't expect you. Or your companion. Kilira straightened. Jax felt her tense beside him. This is Kilira, he said quickly. My, bride. Ren's eyes widened. Bride? You? Really? Jax forced a smile. Yes, me, Ren. People can love me. It's not love, Kilira clarified. It is a temporary contractual. Jax coughed loudly. And we're moving on. We're here to register her ship as undergoing long-term repairs. Ren frowned, tapping on his console. That'll cost credits. Kilira stiffened again, and Jax jumped in. Put it on my account. Ren raised an eyebrow. Your account is basically a black hole. I know, Jax said with exaggerated confidence. But this is important. After a minute, Ren approved the registration. As they walked out, Kilira turned to Jax. You covered my fees. Yeah. Why? He shrugged. Well, we're married. Sort of. Temporarily. Contractually. And besides, your ship needs help. Do you not need help? Constantly, he said. But mine is more of a spiritual kind. Her brows furrowed. Your spirit is damaged. He groaned. Figures of speech, Kilira. Humans have many. 90% of them confuse people. She seemed to consider that. They made their way to the central bazaar next, where neon lights painted the air in shifting colors. Market stalls sold everything from synthetic fruit to questionable bioengineered pets that definitely should not be hissing in unison. Kilira paused at a stall selling flame-resistant arm guards. The merchant smiled eagerly. Good day. Interested in the new Ember Shield model? Resistant to plasma fire, starflare heat, and very angry customers. Kilira nodded at Jax. He is resistant to none of those. The merchant laughed. Jax did not. Kilira, he whispered, if you're going to insult me, at least whisper it. But you must appear strong, she said. Insulting me doesn't make me strong. It makes you humble. Humility is a strength. Not in front of merchants. Kilira glanced at him, expression unreadable. Very well. I shall refrain. They continued browsing. She seemed fascinated by small things. Glittering data crystals, woven belts, strange human trinkets like old Earth stamps. Jax noticed she touched objects delicately, as if she were trying to memorize the feel of things she once took for granted. They stopped at a food stall, where steam curled from trays of protein noodles and sizzling fried synth fish. Kilira stared with mild horror. Is this food? Technically, Jack said. She picked up a noodle with suspicion and sniffed it. This smells like melted industrial plastic. That means it's fresh. She tasted it. Her eyes widened. It is good. I know. Surprises everybody. She ate 3 bowls. Jax blinked. Where is all that going? You have like, human proportions. I am Vorthian, she said calmly. Our bodies burn fuel quickly. That's one way to say, bottomless pit. Her ears twitched. Is that an insult? Compliment. She nodded proudly. They returned to the bay hours later, where Kilira examined Jax's repair work. The ignition coil had stopped sparking, mostly, and the power core pulsed steadily. You are skilled, she admitted. He nearly choked. I'm sorry, could you say that again? I need to record it. You are skilled, she repeated. Wow. Okay. I wasn't ready for that level of positivity. She moved closer, her gaze softening. You doubt yourself often. Only when I'm awake. That is, unfortunate. It's tradition at this point. She stepped even closer, close enough that he could feel the warmth radiating from her skin. Her long ears tilted toward him as if listening to his heartbeat. I do not understand your jokes, she said softly. But I understand this, you are loyal. That is rare. He swallowed hard. Kilira, he murmured, you don't have to say things like that. I do, she replied. Because you have treated me with honor. The air between them felt charged, humming like an engine preparing for takeoff. Jax opened his mouth to say something stupid, probably, when a sudden alarm blared from the station loudspeakers. Kilira stiffened instantly, eyes sharp. What is that? She asked. Jax checked the console. Incoming vessels. Not local. Show me. The hologram flickered to life, 3 ships, sleek and dark, approaching the station without broadcasting identification codes. Kilira's expression tightened. Her long ears flattened against her head. I know those ships. Friends? Jax asked. No. Acquaintances? No. People you owe money to? No. Then who? They are warriors from my clan, she whispered. They have found me. Jax felt a chill run down his spine. What do we do? He asked. Kilira looked at him, her voice calm but laced with fear. We act as mates, she said. And pray they believe the lie. Lie? He squeaked. What lie? That I have chosen a human, she said. For dragons do not challenge the mate of one they respect. Jack stared at her. Kilira, he said slowly, your people, respect humans. No, she said. But they fear scandal. He blinked. This is going to be a long week, isn't it? Kilira touched his shoulder, steadying him. Jax, she whispered, it is beginning. And somewhere deep inside, he knew this wasn't just a contract anymore. Their fates were tangled, pulled together by danger, humor, desperation, and something he didn't yet dare name. The docking bay lights dimmed as the 3 sleek vessels descended toward Helion station like predators scenting blood. Kilira stood perfectly still beside Jax, her posture tall, her long ears slightly angled back in a gesture he had learned to recognize as barely contained worry. Jax, for his part, felt like his organs were trying to leave his body through his feet. So, he whispered, what's the plan? Because I'm usually the guy who panics while someone else comes up with the plan. Stay close, Kilira murmured. Speak little. And above all, do not challenge them. Challenge them? I wasn't planning on challenging anyone. I'm a mechanic. My greatest act of aggression is stripping screws too tightly. A deep hum vibrated through the bay as the first ship touched down. Its landing struts extended with smooth, predatory grace. The hull bore a symbol Jax didn't recognize, something angular and sharp, like a claw mark traced by someone holding a grudge. The ramp descended. 3 Dragon Clan warriors stepped out, each taller than Kilira, their armor glinting with embedded heat cores. Their long ears were sharper, more rigid, and their eyes glowed with faint internal fire. Jax instinctively placed himself half behind Kilira, which he immediately regretted because she stepped forward, pulling him with her. One of the warriors, broad-shouldered and clearly carrying the emotional personality of a sledgehammer, stopped before them. Kilira of the Vorthian, he growled. You walk among humans now. She lifted her chin. I walk where I choose. That is debatable, the warrior replied. His gaze slid to Jax. And this? Is this creature truly what you have chosen as your mate? Jax tried to stand taller. He failed. He tried to look dignified. Failed again. But he lifted his hand in a small wave. Hi. Kilira squeezed his wrist, a very unmistakable behaved gesture. He is mine, she said firmly. You will speak of him with respect. The warriors stared. Then, to Jax's horror, they all sniffed him. Deeply. Loudly. What are they doing? Jax whispered, recoiling. Assessing your suitability, Kilira murmured. For what? I didn't sign up for a suitability test. I barely pass my own suitability tests. The lead warrior narrowed his eyes. He smells fragile. Jax sputtered. I moisturize, okay. That's not fragility. Kilira took a protective step forward. He is stronger than he appears. I literally am not, Jax started, but Kilira silenced him with a sharp look. A second warrior leaned in close, inspecting him. His bones appear soft. They are human bones. Jax protested. They're supposed to be soft. Well, not soft, but normal human hardness. Kilira's ears twitched. A sign she was holding in laughter. The warriors did not laugh. The lead warrior stepped in even closer. Kilira, your exile forbade you from forming alliances. This is not an alliance, she said. It is a union. Temporary, yes. But valid. The warrior's eyes flared. A union with a human. The clan will have no say, Kilira cut in sharply. My choices are mine. The warriors exchanged glances. Jax knew nothing about dragon warrior communication, but he was fairly sure those glances translated to she has lost her mind and we are witnessing it in real time. The lead warrior's attention snapped back to Jax. Prove your worth. Jax blinked. I'm sorry. Kilira stiffened. He owes you nothing. Prove you can protect her, the warrior said. Jax let out a strangled laugh. Protect her? She could pick me up and use me as a battering ram. Kilira pinched his wrist again. He winced. You would challenge me? The warrior asked. No. Jax shouted. Absolutely not. I love being alive. The warrior stepped back. Then how do you intend to keep her safe? A silence settled over the bay. Kilira looked at Jax with a mixture of worry and something else, something he didn't recognize but felt low in his chest. Jax swallowed hard, looked at the warriors, and said the only honest thing he could find inside himself. I don't protect her with strength, he said. I protect her with loyalty. I stay. Even when everything else leaves. I don't run. The warriors stared at him. Then at Kilira. Kilira's expression shifted, almost imperceptibly, but Jax saw the warmth there. The pride. The lead warrior grunted. Loyalty is a form of strength. Jax blinked. It is? Among your kind, perhaps, the warrior said, shrugging his armored shoulders. Kilira stepped forward. You have assessed him. Now leave. Not yet, the warrior replied. We came with a message. Kilira's grip tightened on Jax's arm. What message? You are summoned, he said coldly. The High Tribunal demands your presence. Kilira's eyes widened. Jax didn't know what the tribunal was, but the reaction told him everything he needed to know. I will not return, she said. You must. The warrior paused. Or your dishonor will spread to those you care for. Kilira's breath hitched. And Jax understood. They're threatening me, he said softly. Kilira's voice dropped to a whisper. Yes. The lead warrior leaned in. Be ready. We will return for you both. The three warriors walked back to their ship. The ramp sealed. Engines roared. And soon the vessels vanished into the black. Jax exhaled shakily. Well. They seem friendly. In a, we will definitely kill you sort of way. Kilira didn't smile. She turned to him, her voice low and tight. They will not stop. They will come again. Stronger. Great, Jax muttered. Because we didn't have enough problems. Kilira's long ears angled downward slightly, a gesture he had learned meant fear. I never meant for you to be involved, she said. This was supposed to be simple. When has anything involving me ever been simple? He asked. One time I tried to fix a coffee machine and accidentally created a minor electrical fire that learned to walk. Her eyes softened. You are not afraid. Oh, no. I'm terrified. My soul left my body 10 minutes ago. Despite everything, she almost smiled. He stepped closer. Kilira, we'll figure this out. All we have to do is avoid being found by three deadly warriors trained for interstellar combat with advanced weaponry and no sense of humor. Easy. That is not easy, she said. Shoo. I'm comforting you. She placed a hand on his shoulder. Warm. Heavy. Steady. You should leave me. And go where? Back to my workshop where the vending machine mocks me? No thanks. He shook his head. We're in this together. Her long ears lifted slowly, a sign of hope returning. He reached for her hand. She let him hold it. Jax, she whispered, I do not know how to keep you safe. Good, he said softly. Because I'm not planning on staying safe. She blinked. That is a terrible plan. It's the only one I have. A warning siren blared through the station. Jax checked the monitor and cursed. What now? Kilira asked quickly. Your friends left a surprise, he said. They tagged you with a tracking beacon. Her blood went cold. Then we must run. Jax grabbed her hand tighter. Then we run. They sprinted down the corridor together, the station around them erupting into activity, security drones deploying, alarms flashing. Kilira's warm grip anchored him, and his stubborn resolve anchored her. They didn't know where they were going yet. But they knew one thing. Wherever the next step led, they would take it together. They didn't stop running until they reached the deepest section of Helion Station. An abandoned service wing where the lights flickered in wounded intervals and the air recyclers coughed like old men trying to start arguments. Jax slammed the access panel behind them and braced it with a rusted support beam that definitely wasn't rated for bracing anything. Kilira scanned the shadows, long ears twitching. They will search every sector. Yeah, Jax said, gasping, but will they search the only part of this station even rats avoid? I mean, look at that corner. Something is growing there. Something furry. Kilira eyed him. You are shaking. Because we ran, he said. And because deadly warriors want to separate my head from my body. But mostly because we ran. Kilira touched his shoulder. Your humor is strange. It's stress management, he said. If I stop making jokes, I'll start screaming. Then continue. He gave her a shaky thumbs up. They moved deeper into the abandoned wing, passing shuttered doors and piles of forgotten equipment. The dim lighting revealed lines of dust-coated consoles, collapsed scaffolding, and an old maintenance bot lying face down in a puddle like it had simply given up on life. This way, Jack said, guiding her toward a sealed bulkhead. If we can get into the old cruiser bay, we might find something we can hide in. Kilira frowned. Hide. That is your strategy. Yes, he said. I was not built for heroics. Or fighting. Or confrontations. Or. She covered his mouth with her hand before he spiraled. You are brave, she whispered. He stared at her. She removed her hand. I think you meant to say, you are nervous and got the words mixed up. No, she said. Bravery is not the absence of fear. It is action in its presence. Well, Jax muttered, then I'm a champion. Together they pried open the bulkhead. The metal screeched loudly enough that even the dust particles jumped in alarm. Beyond it stretched the dark skeleton of an abandoned star cruiser bay, massive, silent, filled with shadow and the ghosts of old vehicles stripped for parts decades ago. Kilira exhaled. This place, it feels forgotten. Perfect, Jack said. That's exactly the kind of place we need. They stepped onto the deck plates, which groaned under their weight. Do you know where we're going? Kilira asked. Absolutely not, Jax replied. I'm relying entirely on panic and luck. They weaved through rusted vehicle frames and cracked hull plating until they reached the far corner of the bay. A half-disassembled star cruiser rested there, its body leaning against a support pillar like a tired giant. Panels were missing. Wires dangled like exposed nerves. Kilira approached it reverently. She was beautiful once. Just like me, Jack said. Now she needs parts, motivation, and therapy. Kilira ran a hand along the cruiser's hull. Can you fix it? Jack squinted. Fix is a strong word. But I can make it, move-ish. Kilira turned to him. Then we have a chance. He opened an access hatch. Sparks sprayed out so violently that his hair stood straight up. Kilira blinked. Jax, your head is smoking. It's a style choice, he croaked. Kilira took over, ripping out a section of fried circuitry with bare hands. The metal glowed where her fingers touched it. Jax gaped. Okay, that's cheating. My people are born with heat-forged strength. Right. Meanwhile I pulled a muscle unscrewing a bottle cap last week. Despite their banter, Kilira's movements were slower than usual, her breaths uneven. Jax noticed. You okay? He asked softly. She hesitated. My energy is drained. I have not used my internal fire in many cycles. You used it to save me, he said. Kilira looked away. I had no choice. You did, he murmured. But you chose me. Her long ears shifted downward, embarrassed. Stop saying things like that. Why? They make you uncomfortable. They make me feel, she said quietly. And feelings complicate survival. Welcome to my entire existence. She almost smiled. They worked side by side for hours, Jax reconnecting ancient wiring with improvised tools while Kilira stabilized power conduits using the heat from her palms. He explained every step in excessive detail, half because she needed to understand, and half because the silence made him think too much. So this capacitor reroutes the flow to. I understand, Kilira said. Right, but I want you to also understand that this is the one part of the ship we absolutely cannot poke randomly. Kilira poked it. The lights flickered to life. Jax froze. Okay, noted. Your poking abilities defy science. It is not poking, she said. It is controlled contact. That's what poking is. She tilted her head. You humans argue about strange things. They managed to power up the cruiser's core system. A low hum vibrated through the metal floor. Jax's console flickered with ancient code trying desperately to run something more complicated than basic diagnostics. Then the entire ship jerked violently, sending them both stumbling. Kilira caught him. What was that? System reboot, Jax said. The ship's basically waking up after a 30-year nap, so it's a little cranky. Like me. Jax, she whispered suddenly, voice sharp. Someone approaches. He tensed. How do you know? My ears. She pointed to the far hallway. Boot steps. 23 paces away. Heavy armor. 3 heartbeats. Your clan warriors. Yes. Jax's stomach dropped into his shoes. Okay. Yep. Time to not die. They scrambled into the cruiser's cockpit. Jax punched the ignition sequence. Nothing happened. He punched it again. Still nothing. Jax, Kilira hissed. They are getting closer. Threatening me won't make the ship start. I am not threatening you, I am stating imminent danger. That's even worse. She gripped the control console with both hands, channeling heat into it. The metal glowed red. Sparks burst. The core hummed louder, lights flickering to a steady glow. Jax's eyes widened. You did it. I heated the ignition pathways, she said. Now try again. He slammed the activation switch. The engines roared to life with a deafening, ancient howl. Footsteps thundered down the hallway. Go. Kilira shouted. I don't know if this thing flies. It does now. He slammed the throttle. The cruiser lurched forward, scraping the deck, smashing through a maintenance cart, and punching straight through the bay doors in an explosion of dust and sparks. Behind them, the warriors reached the edge of the hangar, weapons raised, shouting in their native tongue. Jax caught only one word as the ship rocketed into the open void. Traitor. Kilira stiffened. They speak lies. Jax looked at her. Her chest rose and fell heavily, her long ears trembling. Kilira, you're not a traitor. She stared at the stars rushing past them. I disobeyed an order to kill innocents. In the eyes of the tribunal, that is treason. In my eyes? Jax said. That makes you the best person I've ever known. Her breath hitched. The cockpit glowed with scattered stars and shifting nebula light. Kilira leaned back, exhaustion pulling at her, but relief too, like a weight she'd carried alone was suddenly shared. Jax, she whispered. If we keep going, there is no returning. He smiled softly. Then we'll go forward. Her long ears lifted. A quiet, fragile hope filled her eyes. Together, she asked. Together, he said. And for the first time since the week began, they both felt something unexpected, something bigger than danger, bigger than exile, bigger than fear. They felt free. The stolen cruiser drifted through the quiet stretch of space where Helion Station was nothing more than a distant glimmer, swallowed by fields of dust and drifting fragments of ancient wrecks. Jax sat in the pilot's seat, tapping nervously at a console held together by hope and mismatched screws. Kilira rested beside him, one leg drawn up, her long ears tilted downward in silent thought. We can't run forever, Jax finally said. Kilira's golden eyes opened slowly. I know. I mean, I could try. I have impressive stamina when appropriately panicked. But eventually even I get tired of fleeing people who want to pulverize me. Kilira breathed out a shaky laugh. Your humor is a strange shield. It's cheaper than armor. She looked at him with softness he still wasn't used to. There is one place we can go. A place even they hesitate to tread. Please don't say, the sun. No. The tribunal. Jax nearly swallowed his tongue. That's worse. It is the only path forward, she said. Running only delays the inevitable. Jax rubbed his face. So. We're going straight into the heart of the dragon legal system, where they already think you're a traitor and I'm a fragile noodle? Yes. Oh good, he muttered. I love making decisions that accelerate my doom. But he didn't argue further. Because somewhere in the chaos of the last days, something in him had shifted. He wasn't the same mechanic who hid behind broken machines and jokes. He wasn't the same man who offered a week-long marriage contract just to fill a gap in his life. He cared. For her. Deeply. And that meant standing beside her, even if that place was a tribunal chamber shaped like a giant glowing oven. Okay, he said. Let's go. Kilira touched the panel, routing coordinates. You are certain? No, he said. But I'm braver now. Apparently. Her ears lifted with quiet pride. They set course. As the cruiser approached the tribunal world, its massive rings shimmered like forged halos, its surface glowing in molten reds and golds. Jack stared at the view and whispered, please tell me that's just artistic lighting and not the temperature. It is both, Kilira said. They landed in a docking platform carved into black obsidian cliffs. The heat pressed around them like a heavy cloak. Jax immediately regretted every clothing choice he had ever made. Kilira led him through towering corridors lit by fire globes suspended in the air. More warriors watched them pass, their stares sharp, shocked, and, to Jax's discomfort, occasionally pitying. At last, they entered the tribunal chamber, an enormous circular hall with a glowing lava pit at its center. 10 elders stood around it, their armor reflecting the molten light. The lead elder stepped forward. Kilira, he thundered. You disobeyed direct orders. You protected enemies of the clan. And now you bring a human mate into our hallowed chamber. Kilira stepped in front of Jax. I bring him because I choose him. And because my honor does not belong to you anymore, it belongs to truth. A ripple of shocked murmurs shook the chamber. The elder's eyes narrowed. Then speak your truth. Kilira took a breath, long ears trembling. You ordered me to destroy civilians, children, families, who posed no threat. That is not honor. That is cruelty. The hall erupted with debate. Some elders hissed. Others looked ashamed. Jax tried to look brave, which was difficult given he was sweating through 3 layers. And this human? The elder demanded. Why defend him? Kilira turned. Her gaze met Jax's. Because he showed me loyalty when my own people turned away. Because he sees worth in me when I could not. Because he stands beside me without armor, without weapons, without fear for himself. I have lots of fear, Jax corrected softly. Tons. I just don't run from it anymore. The chamber fell silent. Kilira stepped closer to the elders. If that is dishonor, then I accept it. The elders stared at her. Then at Jax. Then back at her. Silently, he gestured for the other warriors, the same 3 who had chased them, to step forward as witnesses. The lead warrior from before approached, scowling at Jax like he was an insect pretending to be a person. But then he knelt. And placed his fist to the floor. Her words are truth, he said. She refused to kill innocents. And this human, stood before us without fleeing. His loyalty is unquestionable. Even to a fool. Jax blinked. Was that last part necessary? Yes, the warrior said. Kilira's long ears lifted in disbelief. The tribunal deliberated in harsh, rapid language. Flames within the chamber flickered brighter, dimmer, brighter again. Jax tried not to pass out from stress or heatstroke. Finally, the elders turned back. Kilira, the lead elder announced, "Your exile is lifted. Your honor is restored." Kilira's breath broke. She bowed deeply, relief shaking her shoulders. "And your human," the elder continued, "is acceptable." Jax blinked. "Wow. That is the nicest insult I've ever received." But Kilira reached for his hand and squeezed it. Hard. The elder lifted a clawed hand. "You are free to leave. Together or apart." Kilira turned to Jax. Her voice trembled. "Jax, our contract is ended. You owe me nothing. You are free." Jax swallowed. He stared at her long ears, her fierce golden eyes, the warmth she carried in every breath. "I don't want to leave," he said. "I didn't stay because of a contract. I stayed because you make me want to be better. Because when I'm with you, I feel like maybe I'm not just a mechanic who got stuck in life. Maybe I'm someone worth standing next to." Kilira stepped closer. "And you gave me hope in exile. You showed me trust without demand. You made me laugh." Her voice softened. "I thought my fire was dying. But you helped me feel it again." He touched her hand. "Kilira, stay with me. Not for a week. Not for credits. Just, stay." She leaned her forehead against his, long ears brushing his cheeks, and whispered, "I choose you." Around them, the fire globes pulsed, almost as if moved by the moment. Warriors watched in stunned silence. Even the elders nodded approvingly. Jax pulled her into a breathless, awkward, absolutely necessary embrace. Kilira wrapped her arms around him, warm and steady, and for the first time in years, she didn't feel alone. And for the first time in his life, Jax felt like he belonged somewhere, not because someone needed him, but because someone wanted him. When they finally stepped back, the lead elder spoke again. "Go. Begin anew." They left the chamber hand in hand. Outside, on the scorching obsidian platform, their battered stolen cruiser waited for them like an old friend ready for a new voyage. Jax nudged her playfully. "So. Where to now? Preferably somewhere with air conditioning." Kilira smiled. "Anywhere. As long as it is with you." He grinned. "Then let's get lost in the galaxy together." They boarded the cruiser. Engines roared. The ship lifted from the tribunal world, rising into starlit space. Two exiles no longer. Two wanderers beginning something neither had expected. And for the first time, both of them flew toward the future with hearts lighter than gravity and brighter than fire.